Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope you had a peaceful night and you started your Thursday in a peaceful way. And so, welcome to our AM actual news version. In the morning, we have everything compact. I've prepared 9 news stories for you that I believe you should know as you begin your day or as you proceed with your day. And so, the first story is unfortunately about deportations. But on a good note, the Democrat mayor of Denver, Colorado, managed to already rattle the border czar. By the way, who has been appointed by Trump and does not need to be approved by Congress because this new position of a czar does not need to follow the normal procedure. And so this young fella here, Colorado mayor or Democrat mayor of Denver, Colorado, Mike Johnston, with a T, has challenged Trump to try to deport any illegal migrants from his city, saying he would deploy the Denver City Police and volunteers from the local community to use force against federal forces trying to deport illegals. Quote, more than us having DPD stationed at the county line to keep them out, you would have 50,000 Denverites there. It's like the Tiananmen Square moment with the rose and the gun. You'd have every one of those Highland moms who came out of migrants. You don't want to mess with them. And certainly he was followed by several Democratic mayors and governors. For instance, Governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, she put out a statement that she will do everything to protect New Yorkers and those who live in New York, right? Also, for instance, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, same story. And so the border czar felt some type of way, so he joined a television show to share his stance. Take a look.
I'll tell you this, they don't have to help us, but they need to get the hell out of the way because we're coming and we're going to do it. Which means if I got to send twice as many resources to that sanctuary city, twice as many agents, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I've been saying for the last several days that they need to study the law. They cannot help, but don't impede us and don't cross certain lines. There's a statute under Title 8 United States Code 1324 that talks about harboring and concealing an illegal alien, knowingly harboring and concealing an illegal alien from ICE. They need to read that statute and become familiar with it because if they cross that line, there will be consequences. So, look, we're prepared to take action, but I hope they come to the table and realize we are prioritizing the worst of the worst first. Help us do that. Help yourself make your community safer. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Bonjour, Lisa. Good morning. Good morning, Vivian. Yes, good morning. Wow, Colorado. Yes, good for Colorado. And this pretty rich coming from somebody who hasn't been elected, hasn't been, approved to be there at a certain position as an appointed czar. And then it's like, help us or we go against you. It's kind of like my way, highway type of story. Let's see, one step at a time, as I always say, one day at a time. Second story is Matt Gaetz and his lack of ethics. So certainly yesterday, the House of Representatives failed to vote in favor of releasing those details from the ethics report. So what we do have for now is that they have released the part where the transactions, the Venmo transactions towards those underage girls are mentioned. And so he has all of those resulting together to $10,000. But here's, for instance, Exhibit 8, where he sends them money, $300, $200, $650 for car deductible tickets, refreshments, love you, travel, hi, joy, and some other exhibits for tonight I have for you as well. And he's like, for being a good girl and all that kind of stuff. So if somebody had to maybe dive into Venmo to delete the credit history, at least I think we should agree this person should not be occupying position of attorney general. But what do I know? Now, look who is back to defend Matt Gaetz. You can't make it up. Here he is.
Congressman, what brings you to Capitol Hill today?
What they're doing to former Congressman Gaetz is wrong. And if nobody is willing to stand up and say it, I came here to lobby it and say it out loud for everyone to hear.
And who are you looking to talk to? How has Matt Gaetz been wrong?
He's no longer within the purview or jurisdiction of the Ethics Committee as a former member. And this is a witch hunt now. It's ridiculous.
And so, is your message? Who's your message to then the ethics committee members, the speaker? Like, what's
To anybody who wants to hear it.
okay? And why is it so important to you to stand up for Matt Gaetz in this moment?
I would have done it for anybody, even if it were a Democrat. Rights.
Question: why is he wearing the congressional pin? As far as I'm concerned, as far as I remember, he's out. I think he was running. Was he running from upstate New York? Who knows? But maybe he wants to be back to politics. But that's really the last person you want to have on your defense committee, if you will. Now, what I do believe, and we're going to dive into that tonight. Tonight, 9 p.m., we're going to have our regular PM actual news where we dive into things and connect the dots, so to speak. And so I do believe the whole Matt Gaetz story is here to divert our attention from the main threat, which is the nomination of Tulsi Gabbard for Director of Intelligence. And this is something that Russia is heavily pushing for. I showed you many proofs in the print press, on the news, online. They're very ecstatic about it. And certainly that is the main issue that has to be addressed. And certainly, if even you approve such individual to be there for a day, imagine the damage that can be done and not undone, by the way. Okay, third story is the press. And do we have freedom of press or not? I just joined the meeting with folks in Australia and here. And so what can we do to actually defend press? Because some regulations and policies can be put into place to put press into place. And so from Oliver Darcy's status newsletter, quote, okay, so PBS has, and then I read the next one. So just for you to understand the story. So PBS has given a place for sharing the new policy to be introduced to protect the freedom of press and the freedom of speech. And so who is very much against that is Donald Trump, because he keeps tweeting about it. He tweeted just 10 hours ago, Republicans must kill this bill. And he is quoting PBS NewsHour, political divisions threaten bill to protect press freedom, right? How political divisions are threatening a bipartisan bill to protect press freedom. So if you wonder what's in that bill, here's 1 minute exactly on that. Take a look.
After the presidential election, the nonprofit Committee to Protect Journalists issued a statement warning of a potentially hostile climate for press freedom under a second Trump term. It read in part, legal persecution, imprisonment, physical violence, and even killings have sadly become familiar threats for journalists across the world. They must not now also become commonplace in the United States, where threats of violence and online harassment have in recent years become routine. That's as advocates are urging Senate lawmakers to pass a bipartisan bill that would protect journalists from government spying and other interference. Jody Ginsburg is the CEO of the Committee to Protect Journalists and joins us now. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So your organization and others have raised concerns about what Trump's second term could mean for press freedoms. What are your specific worries, and what have you seen already that gives you pause?
I think we need to think about two things specifically about a new Trump administration. The first is around legal threats, and the second is around regulation.
Yeah. And so this is, so to speak, on press. And I also have the 9th point, just editing here because we have some news on MSNBC, but we'll get there in a second. So as we have discussed through this week, also last week, Trump has been talking about this anti-DEI issue and the problems of white people not getting into colleges and perhaps wanting retributions for it. And now the big word is oppression. Apparently, white people are being very much oppressed. And so this was discussed yesterday in Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill. And so here's Jasmine Crockett exactly on that.
It's because you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work We are going to steal your wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression. We didn't ask to be here. We're not the same migrants that y'all constantly come up against. We didn't run away from home. We were stolen. So yeah, we are going to sit here and be offended when you want to sit here and act like, and don't let it escape you that it is white men on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle, that y'all are the ones being oppressed, that y'all are the ones that are being harmed.
So another story that is being circulated because Trump again addresses that he does not want to see women in military. That newly appointed, and let's see if he's going to get confirmed, the Fox News host appointed by Trump for the defense. Secretary of Defense, he openly states that you need to be having some type of, masculine features to be in the military, and he doesn't want the weak link, and women are the weak link. And so the current and very much accomplished Secretary of Defense Austin addressed this issue and shared a personal story. So take a look.
I can tell you about my experiences with women in the military and women in combat, and they're pretty good. And I told a story earlier today where, I was, when I was a 1-star, I was a deputy commander of the 3rd Infantry Division. And you remember that 3rd Infantry Division was the major element that conducted the attack or the assault from Kuwait all the way up to Baghdad. It was very instrumental in taking the city of Baghdad. And I was the deputy commander for maneuver, so I was at the front edge of the battle. My goal was to be in a position where I could see and feel the fight. And so that meant that I had to be right there, right behind the lead elements, and I was. In my headquarters, in my command post, were several very courageous and very proficient women who did amazing things to support our effort and support their colleagues. So in my 3 long tours to Iraq, and then 1 tour in Afghanistan, every place I went, there were women doing incredible things, and they were adding value to the overall effort, whether they were pilots, whether they were operational experts, or whether they were intel experts. I see things differently, and I see that because of my experience. And that experience is extensive. And so I think our women add significant value to the United States military. And we should never change that. And if I had a message to answer your question to our women, I would tell them that, we need you. We have faith in you. We are appreciative of your service. And you add value to the finest and most lethal fighting force on earth.
Amen to that. Now let's see what will be the next message of that next defense secretary, whoever that ends up being. Now, the 6th point I have is on Ukraine. So, the freshest clip from Lindsey Graham came out last night, yesterday, where he shared a fresh outlook as to what is the Ukrainian conflict about. And this might shock you. Take a look.
Ukraine is still standing. This war is about money. People don't talk much about it. But the richest country in all of Europe for rare earth minerals is Ukraine. $2 to $7 trillion worth of minerals that are rare earth minerals, very relevant to the 21st century. Ukraine's ready to do a deal with us, not the Russians. So it's in our interest to make sure that Russia doesn't take over the place. It's the breadbasket of really the developing world. 50% of all the food going to Africa comes out of Ukraine. We can make money and have an economic relationship with Ukraine that'd be very beneficial to us with peace. So Donald Trump's going to do a deal to get our money back, to enrich ourselves with rare earth minerals, a good deal for Ukraine and us, and he's going to bring peace. And Biden's been a disaster when it comes to containing bad guys.
We will enrich ourselves on rare earth minerals. That's what it's about. Now, this is Ukraine radars at 5:15 a.m., 5:13 a.m. The entire country has been on high alert. Target civilians. For instance, a rehabilitation center for people with disabilities was damaged in Dnipro, for instance, right? And what was different this time? This time, for the very first time in this war or this brutal aggression, they have used intercontinental ballistic missile. And this, this is just to show those across the ocean that they have ability to reach you, us, so to speak. This is how it looks like when the stuff hits the surface. You see right here, that's Dnipro area, and that's what has been happening tonight. As you see here, the date, November 21st, 2024. There was a very embarrassing moment because Russians are denying that it's intercontinental ballistic missile. Ukrainians and Ukrainian Air Force immediately confirmed that. Americans said, well, we don't know, we need investigation. And then there was a press briefing in Kremlin, and I have the video for you for tonight's review, where Maria Zakharova, which is a spokesperson for Kremlin, she was conducting a press briefing, and she got a call and she accepted the call, and then she ended up on a hot mic because the mic was in front of her. She picks up the phone and we can hear the guy on the phone telling her, listen, they already started talking about the ballistic missiles, shut the F up, don't confirm anything, keep denying, and the press heard all of it. I have the video translated and ready for you for tonight. Now, Canadian Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, who is truly incredible. Why I joined a conversation with her at the Council for Foreign Affairs about a week ago, and she shared that her mom is from Ukraine. She was born in Canada, but she speaks Ukrainian. Her kids are going to school where they learn Ukrainian, and so she is fighting for Ukraine. Now, she addressed Ukrainians first in English and then in Ukrainian. Translations are available, so take a look.
We are here for Ukraine today. We're going to be here for Ukraine tomorrow. We are going to continue to work in close collaboration with all of Ukraine's allies to continue to support Ukraine. The fight in Ukraine is a fight between democracy and dictatorship, and that the Ukrainians are fighting for us. Я хочу сказати нашим друзям в Україні, що Канада стоїть з вами, ми стоїмо з вами сьогодні, будемо стояти з вами завтра. Ми розуміємо, що ця війна – це війна між демократією і диктатурою. Ми горді вас, ми вдячні вам і будемо далі вас підтримувати.
That came very sudden to me, certainly, and we're grateful for this. Lisa says, is any of that he speaks is true? About the minerals, yes, it's true. But, just the way he phrased to, as to we're going to enrich ourselves by not allowing Putin to take over Ukraine. Kind of like, good answer. Well, you arrived at the right spot, but you took a very different route. And meanwhile, Trump doesn't want that. And we were going to dive into that tonight because Russia issued that statement dividing Ukraine in 3 pieces. And so I'm going to share my take as to why do they do that? What would it be resulting in? And, who will benefit? Okay. So now, reportedly, President Biden seeks to cancel over $4.5 billion in Ukraine's debt. Quote, we have taken the step that was outlined in the law to cancel those loans, provide the economic assistance to Ukraine, and now Congress is welcome to take it up if they wish. I'm not really warm to the point if they wish. Well, President Biden, come on, we're counting on you. Now, 7th point is Musk and Ramaswamy are ready to headline that weird out of administration outside the administration department that's supposed to control the administration. But how are they going to do it? How are they going to share their plans? Well, they're having a podcast. Okay, here you go.
As part of that process, I'm now all in. I'm focused on making sure that we actually accomplish the goal rather than just talking about it. So to that end, for the next little bit, I'm going to put a pause on the Weekly Truth podcasts. I've enjoyed doing it this year. It's been incredibly fun and entertaining. I've learned from a lot of the guests, and I've enjoyed communicating with all of you. We're going to put that on pause for a little bit. And as you may have heard, Elon and I are going to start a separate track of Dogecasts that explain exactly what we're doing to the public to provide transparency in what is a once-in-a-generation project. We want to bring the public along with us to lift the
Dogecasts. Okay. And lastly, number 8 is the effects of, well, not last, I have 9 points. The effects of illegal mining. Now, this will stun you. The administrator of USAID or USAID, Samantha Power, who traveled to Brazil right after the G20, right after President Biden was there. And she shared 2 photos on social media that will stun us. The 2 Amazons I saw in Peru today. Sorry, she traveled to Peru. My bad. So the 2 types of Amazon she saw today. Now, here's the first one is the Amazon the world knows and needs. And our second one is what the rainforest actually looks like as a result of illegal mining. It's pretty stunning, though. Supposed to look like, does look like. And that's illegal mining. So when we talk about climate change, when we talk about why President Biden took the helicopter tour and then invested $100 million, out of $500 million that should be allocated over 5 years, that's your proof. Those are pictures. It's not, we can think that the earth is flat and whatever we do does not have consequences. It does. Now, lastly, the news that kind of shook up the television world, which came very much last night, very late, about Comcast. And so it's official. The Comcast is to spin off cable networks, and they see new standalone company as a partner and acquirer of media assets. So cable assets to be carved off. Include cable channels, MSNBC, CNBC, E, Sci-Fi, Golf Channel, Oxygen, and USA, along with digital assets like Fandango, whatever you try to book your ticket or like the entrance to a movie theater and it never works, that part. Fandango, whatever. Rotten Tomatoes, Golf Now, and Sports Engine. They will be run by some of NBCU's most respected executives. Now, Peacock will stand alone. Everybody was laughing when when NBC World, or the world of NBC channels launched Peacock, but now it's actually most profitable asset from them on. Now, MSNBC will be part of this new SpinCo, as they call it now, and so they will be trading assets. So pretty much what it means in English is that everything will be for sale. Now, here is my question. We're going to dive into that again more in detail tonight. Who is going to buy them? Because I don't think we have to be very creative to pinpoint who would be willing and interested to buy them. Now, the problem with MSNBC, since it will be separate now from NBC News, that they will not be able to rely on NBC reporters, for instance, White House reporters or any other reporters. So they always relied on this footage and information and real-time news. So how that will look like, that's a big question mark. The news CEO that will be running MSNBC said that they'll see themselves as, so to speak, well-funded, non-profit, well-funded startup, and they're looking into getting, influencers and that type of stuff to join the channel, and somehow, I don't know, that should work. My question is, obviously it will be a subscription based. If you used to see an influencer for free online, are you going to pay to see them again online, but on another app? Anyway, we'll dive into that tonight. But what prompted it? So here are the numbers, right? So from Oliver Darcy's Status newsletter, quote, in total audience, Morning Joe's Tuesday program just averaged 683,000 viewers compared to 1,044,000 viewers it has averaged all year long, right? Since they went to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring, now this, according to Nielsen, right? And in the advertiser coveted 25 to 54 demographic, the show saw an even worse drop. It averaged just 78,000 demo views on Tuesday, down 40% from year's average of 129,000 views. Also, same story with CNN. They're dropping views. Advertisers are leaving them, going to another spot. So those channels, I predicted that half a year ago. They will be for sale. I just did not predict that to be fast. And certainly trying to play both games, both sides, and satisfy Trump now, going to Mar-a-Lago does not help. And so this will result in more channels and assets being for sale. My question is Peter Thiel buying it? Is Elon Musk buying it? And, the answer is we will see. Okay, so this is it for now. So join me at 9 p.m. tonight. We're going to dive into this news, also everything that happens between now and tonight, and also some other topics, right? I'm very keen on international politics, diplomacy. And so we're going to tie the dots together and see who's benefiting from any type of news that we're seeing. Okay, so have a peaceful day. Keep your head on a swivel, consume actual news, and I'm going to catch you up on everything at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. All right, guys, have a very, very good day. See you later.